You are a handsome devil. What's your name? This is the Cult Faction Podcast, episode 114, Spotlight on Grosse Point Blank.
Superman.
Hello and welcome to the Cult Faction Podcast, episode 114, where we put the spotlight on Grosse Point Blank. A little late coming in there because I actually forgot it was me that was doing the hosting. I do apologise.
How could you with Grosse Point?
I know, but I just got swept away in the theme tune. So yeah, that's tonight's episode. It's a spotlight episode, and it's on Grosse Point Blank. But before we get into all of that lot, I've got my co-hosts with me, Mr.
Paul Hawkins.
and Mr.
Brett Summers.
And as usual, we're going to have a little bit of a waffle.
And you are?
Oh, I'm Damien Hicks, but you know,
Everyone knows.
that. So, what's been going down in Groovetown? What exciting, fun, frivolous frolics have we all been up to this week? I'll go to you, Paul, first, because I think Brett normally goes first on this.
It's the wife's birthday on Saturday. Much
Cool.
merriment was had, I think. Yeah, bit quiet in the Hawkins household on the Sunday.
On Sunday, yeah.
But Saturday was nice.
Cool. Drinks,
Yeah, sing
bit of
star
food,
till early
karaoke.
hours. Yeah.
Cool. What about you, Mr. Summers?
Well, I was there with you guys.
Well, I know that, but do they know that?
We might as well just forget it.
Yeah.
I think they
Right,
get
let's just
it
knock the whole shit on the
fine
head, shall we?
now. I think they get. No, it was a very fun time, and yeah, I tried old speckled hen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
But
a bit
yeah.
average, but you know.
It was something different. Yeah, so we just want to send me a crate. But no, it was a very, very pleasant evening. Sunday was spent with getting ready for school. So fun rock and roll 1 minute, back to the books and ticking them next. It's a roller coaster life.
Isn't it?
Damien.
Wow. So I've had a quiet week up until Friday. Friday I went
Oh,
to
that's right.
a microbrewery. So I can't really say that word very well.
Are they really tiny?
Yeah. Like
you
micro
know,
machine size.
oh,
No,
so
it
they
was-
come in
yeah.
collections of 5.
Just counting the barrels now. Yeah, there's about 5 pots it all goes through. So I had to go mixing, drinking. Yeah,
Early
that
in
was
the
the
morning.
concern. So we got there for 10 o'clock. About 20 past 10, we were served bacon sandwiches and glasses of stout, and that theme pretty much continued for the rest of the day. And I came home with a nice barrel of beer.
I thought you were going to say hangover.
No, I don't get hangovers, do I? So
Bacon
Tired.
and beer.
I'm tired.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
I think I fell asleep at about 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You deserved it.
I remember walking home, got off the train. I was walking back home, and I was googling to see whether the burger van was open, which it was. But I was like, now is it burger van, or should I just say sod the whole lot and order a takeaway? I opted for the takeaway.
Which one? Indian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Went for a Madras, which I regret. I should have gone for a Vindaloo now, but I kind of just thought I'll go for a Madras. It's got a little bit more flavour than the.
Woulda,
than
shoulda,
Vindaloo.
coulda. Life's full of, decisions
Yeah.
that could have changed the course of your life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Butterfly effect,
Mm.
the Vindaloo effect. Yep.
Yeah. But it is what it is. I bitterly regret it now.
You remember for next time.
Yeah. Exactly. And then Saturday was PART.
Why?
Because I got it.
And fun and frivolity was had by all.
It was good, wasn't
It was a good night.
it? I say that like I did it. I just got the cake.
Fair enough.
It was a good cake.
It was good.
Do we need to give a shout out to the cake people?
We're not sponsored by them.
I know, but we can give them a shout out.
We're not sponsored by them.
Okay.
Fair enough. I can't, 'cause I don't know who they were.
Yeah, they.
There's a cake factory in Southampton, East Street, Southampton. Egg-free cakes at their finest.
There we go.
We'll give you a shout out. Have some more cake, please.
Cake. Send cake.
That's how it works.
All right. Well, yeah, that's what we've done. What have we watched?
Okay.
Yeah, go on. You go.
I'm going to come first to talk about what I've been watching.
So we've heard, Paul.
Why
So we've
change the
heard.
habit of a
So-
lifetime?
I bought Dial of Destiny.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Yeah.
Was it Destiny?
I don't know how to respond to that. I mean, could have been. I just don't know why they made it, apart from trying to make lots of money, which it didn't do. So
I was never the biggest indie fan anyway, and then Crystal Skull was just like a load of shit, I believe is the word.
yeah, I mean
Apart
that.
from Karen Allen was in it. That was
Well,
cool.
yeah, she's in this one as well for a couple of minutes. It's just, I really like Harrison Ford. It's just with Crystal Skull. Obviously, they got Shia LaBeouf in to do a lot of the more.
Yeah, but he
strenuous
wasn't
stuff.
the worst thing about it.
No.
Pick up with him.
But now they've got I've forgotten her name now. Who plays his goddaughter in Dial of Destiny? She does.
Oh, the Fleabag.
That's the
Phoebe
one.
wanna bing bang. Phoebe wanna bridge.
Doesn't she
Yeah.
write everything in Hollywood now?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, they got her on a contract to write lots of stuff, but I don't think she's actually written anything yet. Yeah, she was paid a fortune.
Which she's not allowed to at the moment.
Yeah, I think she had something
No.
to do with the solo film as well.
But even before the writers' strike.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, she's okay. She's kind of, she's trying to be all nasty, but she's not really, and she's not nasty at all. So that's set up really bad. Harrison Ford, when he's the CGI they do when he's young is amazing. It looks like he was back in the old days. You can't tell it's really computer generated. But it's just lost its way, and there's no need for it. No need for it. I'd rather see him go back and actually find proper relics, as opposed to aliens, or in this one, maybe something that helps them go through time. Bring back.
yeah, just should have just stuck in the Nazi time period and been just dotting around. Like each adventure is in that time zone.
Yeah,
So
rather than
is it
going this
timey
age.
wimey as such? And is he jumping? Do we see bits of the other films?
It's not Quantum Leap.
No,
but-
do we see like, oh look, there's a bit from Raiders?
No. It's
Capsules in it for some reason.
It's proper CGI, and there's a new scene in World War II where he's fighting Mad Mikkelsen and whatever his name is, and then they meet up again in the 60s because he's trying to steal the Dial of Destiny and all this kind of good stuff. But it's just not great. It's real shame. Should have left it on
Because
the.
I'd have had him
cutting
use
room
it, and he
floor.
could have gone back, and he would have been the plane pilot in Raiders. When he fights Bold Pat Roach, and it comes around and like, and he was actually piloting the plane the whole time. Anyway,
Yeah.
little nuggets, little things.
No real nuggets. No.
Mm.
No, it's just disappointing because you hear the music and you inside you go, yes, I want to get into this.
Yeah.
But
no, nothing.
just falls flat. And I think that's about the story of my TV. Everything else is a bit flat. So Indiana Jones, Wheel of Time season 2 is continuing, but again I'm just watching that for the sake of it.
Yeah, just not going back to that.
It's so far
I haven't
removed.
got to it yet because there's people that really like it, and people are just like,
Yeah, it wasn't
and
that
I've
bad.
got other
The problem is
things.
for me it's so far removed from the books. I don't really recognise it anymore, and it doesn't flow very well. It really doesn't. It's really awkward to watch. There's a couple of set scenes in it that are alright, but it just jumps around a lot because they're huge books, so they're trying to condense all of this stuff into a few series, and it's just not working for me. But I'll carry on watching it. One good one is Lioness on Paramount Plus. This is with Zoe Saldana, who's like I think she's a CIA operative or FBI or something like that, and she leads a crack team to do stuff. It's watchable.
Oh yeah, I've seen lots of adverts for that.
Yeah, it's okay. And my final one is Ashoka.
Yeah.
Oh, Ahsoka rather.
Ahsoka.
Yeah. So I've just got up to the one where they've brought back Hayden Christensen, and I'll just start the one after that.
What do you think?
Still not buying it.
Well, what do you not like?
Just don't care. I don't care about Ahsoka. I don't care about her green friend. I've forgotten her name. I don't care about her young Padawan. That was the Mandalorian. There just doesn't really feel any chemistry, and even the bad guys aren't really that bad. They and in the one I just saw with the return of Hayden Christensen, the young Mandalorian doesn't destroy. She gives him back the thing so they can create a star map.
Yeah, because she needs to find Ezra.
Yeah, and then he takes her with him because he's nice. It's like, chop her head off now. We'll get some electricity and nuke her.
He's one of those weird characters. He's got his own code going on.
Yeah. I just. It's the whole thing,
But that's what his character was like.
Yeah, I know, but it harks back to the films. There's always a freaking key or a map that they're having to find. I mean, this is
storytelling
in the world of like robots and AI and but no, we can only get to that big galaxy over there that you can see. Oh, there it is. But we can only get our little starship there if we can work out the coordinates on this. Just fly there. Just get in your ship.
That's why I like Star Trek.
And fly there. God. But no, they need a mystical orb to work out how to get there. It's like, bog off.
Yeah, surely R2 could just plot a course.
Well, the baddies are going. They didn't have R2. But yeah,
You know what I mean.
they've got these 6 big robots, controlling the ship.
Yeah.
Just get them to... Look, there's the galaxy we want to get to. How do we get from here to there?
Yeah, sounds like even Holly could do it.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't trust Holly, but... But yeah, after the films where you've had to find a pyramid so you could get to the location of...
Oh, that pissed me right off.
Yeah.
Was that with the knife?
I don't know, yeah.
When they had the knife out and it was like, oh, it's the same, there it is.
Yeah.
And then they never used the knife again.
Yeah. It's just...
I give you it on that one, but this one does... Because
Yeah.
it's like the Jedi Holocrons and all that. And just
don't buy it.
Sounds like a load of arse gravy to me. I'm glad I'm not watching it.
Hasn't won me over yet.
I'm really enjoying it. I'd say my only problem with it is it's a film where each scene is an episode, really.
Yeah.
Which I've said before.
I mean, they're still short. They're 36 minutes long. But it's still not doing it.
For you.
No.
No, fair enough.
I carry on watching it.
Well,
Because I'm in it now. Episode 5 or whatever. There can't be that many left. 8 or something.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I think it's 8.
Yeah.
It's normally about 8, isn't it? Yeah.
I just wish they would do something new.
Well, this is new.
No, it's not.
It's following on from Rebels.
Yeah, but it's in the old time. We've done that now.
Oh, you mean like moving into
do
the new
something
space
new.
of new time?
Yeah.
Well, we might see that with the new ones because Rey comes back.
I don't want Rey back. No one does.
I thought she was right.
It was just Luke's dream. None of that existed. They're going to
who's
come
Rey?
back. Rey Skywalker.
The girl Jedi from the new film.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
She's a girl.
But all the last 3 were Luke Skywalker's dreams. They're going to write it out of canon.
They're not. They're carrying
They
on.
are. They're going to get rid of it and rebrand it. Yeah.
Well, you've not been paying attention to this then, because half of this is leading into.
I don't want it to. I don't want Rey back. I want them to start again. Just start again. Something new. Bog off. Not with Rey. Do something different. Kill her off.
They should have. Well, they might do yet.
Yeah.
I think they should have carried on with this before doing the new trilogy, because I think that would have fit better with everyone watching Rebels and then going into this and build it up, and then do so. Because then by the end of this, you're going to be ready for, I guess, Thrawn's will die at the end, but the Imperials or whatever they're called now are back.
Yeah.
So then you got the new film where they're back, Kylo Ren, whatever. That's how I would have done it, I think.
Yeah. But as I said, I'm tired of looking back, and now they're bringing Lando out as a film. It's like, who cares?
I just wish Isaac Hayes was still alive to do the music for it.
I know it's a bit negative, but it annoys me. It just annoys me.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
I haven't been listening, but I'm not complaining.
Yeah. Anyway, that's me done.
Oh, that's you. Oh, cool. Right. Mr. Summers, what have you been watching?
I've been watching that, and I've really enjoyed it. So there. Shelter, there's one episode to go now, and that's really up the ante.
Is that the name of it?
Harlan
Coven.
Shelters, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's been really good. A few twists and turns. Still, even in episode 7, where you kind of get a few bits now, there's still a little bit they put at the end which spins it again. So it's, yeah. I do need to read some of this man's books because it's clearly well written.
Yeah, they're good books.
And you've recommended them before. So I hope my next Audible credit may go along there to see what else is going on. But yeah, no, it's a good show. I mean, I would say its biggest weakness may be that, you know, all this is happening to a bunch of teenagers, as always sometimes, you know. But that is kind of explained because there's like a trafficking thing, and obviously it's one of their friends who disappears, and so it is relevant. But I'm just wondering if they carry on with it. It's like they can't have that much bad luck if, like, in a season 2 on the next adventure, you know, like it's trafficking again, you know, or whatever. So I don't know, but I have faith that they will do it. But the final episode is today, so I'll watch that later as it's Friday. I've also changed the face of teaching further this week.
You've moved on from Mr. Ben.
Mr. Ben is done now. We finished our Mr. Ben project and wrote about our own stories.
Now
where we went, picked a costume, went through, and you could choose what you liked.
Now it's Chorlton and the Weedies.
Hello,
little lady.
You're not far off. But yeah, disappointingly, most of them were spacemen, rockets, princesses. There wasn't any.
Nothing.
There
really
wasn't that one where it was like, I want to be a taxidermist or something like that.
You were hoping for a mortician or something.
Yeah, that child to keep an eye on. You know? But this week, and they'd never heard of it before, and it's like I've opened their eyes to this whole new world. The shoe people.
Shoe people.
Yeah, they're all singing it and everything. They've got them singing along.
I'm not surprised. It's an airworm.
And so basically, you design your own shoe. Where does he live? What's he up to in this world? Write me a story about him. That's been this week's sort of little story project.
Okay.
And that's going okay. Next week, I think.
Oh, spoiler, kids.
Poddington Peas.
No, next week.
Down at the bottom of the garden.
No. Next week, we might have some toys that have something wrong with them and get thrown in a particular bin. So if you know that these with your number of knees
they're
and your
definitely
fingers
going to
are
be singing
off.
that all the time.
And say I just don't care because Reggie don't.
But it's working because again, it's a year 7 class. They're of low reading and spelling age, so I'm trying to nurture them and get them interested in writing a story because a lot of them don't want to write, or you've got to write it, they'll write underneath it because, you know. So yeah, no, it's working, and using classical pieces of literature and on-screen text is doing that.
Right on, Brett.
Yeah, Shakespeare, Macbeth, Mr. Ben, and the Shoe People.
Cool.
It's all happening. What else have I been watching this week? Ooh, I've gone blank now. Yeah,
right, Damien.
And I'll come back.
I've only got the 2 things which I haven't written down and I've now forgotten. It wasn't the airplane thing. I finished that.
Yeah.
Quantum Leap. Finished Quantum Leap.
Oh, I still haven't managed to watch it.
Okay, I won't give any spoilers. I was kind of...
But
it's a little bit meh towards it. It rushes the end episode as a kind of...
You could tell that they
get
had
out
to
clause.
finish.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but it was alright.
It was alright.
Not watch another season when it comes out because it's got the green light or whatever. And started watching One Piece.
Ooh, what do you think?
Just the one episode so far.
Oh, okay.
So literally put it on after we got to the end of Quantum Leap because we had like an hour. Yeah, it's quite cool actually. I think, because I know nothing about the original anime and stuff.
Yeah.
So I obviously knew from before what we were talking about the devil fruit and all that. But I don't know, for some reason his stretchy arms came as a real shock to me. All of a sudden, I don't know. I just kind of felt they could have dropped that a little bit more subtly. I don't know. It just kind of took me out of the world they'd already created.
I think maybe that was the point of doing it for. Oh, actually, he's got quite special powers now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just felt a bit weird. But yeah, it's enjoyable. I think if you hadn't already been having a conversation about it, I would be thinking, yeah, Cities of Gold.
Yeah.
This kid's annoying. But you're saying he gets better.
You'll come round to it.
I like the flashback stuff.
Yeah.
That was quite cool with the little guy and him as a little guy and his relationship with the cool captain.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. But I'm only one episode, so I'm not.
You've got lots of twists and turns ahead of you.
I'm sure there is. And yeah, so far it's obviously the classic people that haven't met each other coming together with a common goal.
Pretty much the whole series.
Yeah, the fight scene's pretty cool. The dude with the 3 swords, I thought was pretty awesome with his knife skills or sword skills.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Just expect lots more of that.
Yeah, and that's cool.
Yeah,
that's a good thing. Bob Ross, continuing my. I think I'm actually getting to the point now where we've gone right the way through and we're coming back round again. Because I swear I've seen that hut on a mountain with a little fence before, but
it was just your little secret.
But it is making me it's tempting me to get it's not get my paints out again because they've long gone. Go to the range and buy a whole new set. Get myself an easel.
They've got the Bob Ross paints there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly.
£20 each colour.
Yeah, but he does it. It's just of no relevance to the podcast whatsoever. But he does it. His style of painting is a completely different thing to like the masters. He paints liquid white onto the canvas first, then you paint on top so you can maneuver. Which when I was taught to paint, is you paint on a blank canvas. If you literally do some stuff, you have to wait for it to not necessarily dry, but get a little bit more hardened and build up the layers.
Yeah.
But that looking at what he does, Christ, you can do that in half an hour. I'm going to give it a go.
Just need some titanium white.
Yep, you need some titanium. No, white. Titanium white. Some Van Dyke brown.
And there's always a space for you on our podcast to show your paintings and maybe sell them.
Yeah.
Or if you've got one that you'd like to send into our gallery.
Yeah, well, you can play the music for you. Anything's better than a DVD, Blu-ray box set of Doctor Who, in my opinion. So send them in.
What did you have to show? Nothing.
Ooh.
And you forgot.
I didn't say anything.
Sits in my studio.
Has a go at me for not doing anything.
You said it. You're like, I've got it. Did he not?
He did, to be fair, on Saturday. He did. Don't worry, I've got it covered.
Yeah, I've got it covered.
That was a long time ago.
We always need an offering to the podcast gods.
Okay. Next week is my offering.
Okay. Sweet. Right, have you remembered what else you
I just bring Connor.
You can just sit there. Recreate.
Superman?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that. Because it's a new school term. So every break time, I've been putting on an episode in my room of Gravity Falls. And the kids just wanted it. Have you ever seen that?
No.
You need to watch that.
I'll put that on the list of other things I apparently need to watch.
Because I've seen it all before.
Oh, sorry! I watched about 5 episodes of Columbo over the weekend as well, for no reason whatsoever other than I couldn't be asked to get off the sofa on Sunday.
There's always a reason to watch Columbo.
No, my opinion of Columbo, as much as he's a very good actor and the whole kind of...
You just don't like it because you see what the killer is.
Exactly. However, I've mastered that, so...
You don't watch.
I don't watch the first 5-10 minutes. So every time a new episode came on, I changed the channel and then I turned it back again, like after 7 or 8 minutes.
Certainly, when you realise you're talking to one person.
Yeah, but you still don't. I haven't seen how it's done.
Okay.
Because it's not just he walks over and stabs someone, is it? It's not quite always a locked door mystery, but it's that kind of thing. So
They're normally on a phone.
Yeah. So I was watching it.
Which ones? Who did he catch?
Oh God, I don't know.
Shatner?
No one I recognise.
Johnny Cash?
No. That's the only one I actually really properly remember. But no, it wasn't any. It was one was a 1994 TV movie. That was the one that got me hooked.
Columbo Goes to College.
No.
Oh, that's the best one ever.
It's about he's knocking around a film studio or something. You got to remember, I watch things and then I immediately forget them. So
I don't know what it's like for normal people.
Yeah, exactly. I'm normal. I don't sit there and sort of bank all this information. There's room.
Is it the one where the guy was the mobster?
No, he wasn't a mobster. There was one, but that wasn't the TV movie. Most of the other ones are all like the early 74, 75 ones. The best one was one where she was basically an Angela Lansbury. She was a murder mystery writer, and his wife and Columbo's wife is a big fan. That was a good one.
That one where she stalks him.
No.
Oh, I can't remember.
That's not important. Anyway, sorry. You go back to.
I was just saying, like,
Galaxy Quest or whatever it was.
No, Gravity Falls.
Gravity Falls
on Disney Plus. Have you ever watched it?
Oh, this sounds like. Is this one of those shitty kids sitcoms like
it's
Joey and Melissa or whatever?
No. It's a cartoon, but it's Twin Peaks for kids.
Yeah,
it's one of those
why would I want to watch a kids program? You say, oh, you need to watch this. If it's aimed anything between the age of 9 and
that's my point.
19, I'm not interested.
It's not. It's so well written and like. I've seen it all the way through anyway. But when you go back and you just watch
so why have you seen this?
Because it was amazing.
No, but what made you watch it?
Because
someone
said, watch Gravity Falls, it's like Twin Peaks for kids. And the first couple, I was like, it's funny, but it's a bit silly. And then you suddenly realise there's like lots of different things going on in there that maybe the kids don't realise. And
okay, carry on. I'm not.
Yeah, but
just get on with it.
But I think you'd be pleasantly surprised. Like the sort of thing, Emily will be watching it, and she'll be like,
but she's 4.
Yeah, but she'll laugh along at the characters and the silly things they do, and then you realise.
And anyway, it's a cartoon. There's no way I'm going to sit and watch a cartoon.
Everything's half of it like, is that the Illuminati? Right. And other things.
So it's going down well with your school.
Yeah, but they're all like, it's just funny and stuff. But you just noticing one of those things. The more you watch it, the more you notice. And there's like backwards talking in the background, really faintly, and things like that, and like messages and iconography and yeah. I don't know why he made it as a kid show, really. But yeah, because it's just like, are you trying to freak kids out or just But watch it. It's good. There's only 2 seasons. It's like 2 seasons.
2 seasons of 24 episodes.
Yeah, but like
at 45 minutes.
No, they're like 15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
Nothing too mad.
Cool. Is that it?
I believe it. Oh, I did watch. Not really do us. I did watch the first few episodes of My Mum, Your Dad.
Oh yeah. I've seen that. That's constantly on the adverts.
The Love Island for older people.
Yeah.
And there was this moment I was watching it. I was like, well, they can say what they like, but I like the music on this one better. It was like Tom Petty and all that stuff, and I was like, this is really cool. And then when one of the ladies was like, yeah, I'm a mother of 2, and I'm single, and I'm coming here, and I'm 45. And I'm like, you're younger than me. And you're in the old Love Island.
There you go.
And then, then I started feeling really bad. But then I felt better because Davina McCall's hosting it, and when you watch it, because they have the parents in one bit and their kids are in like a house down the road voting for what they do. They think it's a panel of love experts and psychologists that are planning all the things for them.
Yeah.
But it's their kids voting for
it. Okay, yeah.
So that's the twist.
Yeah.
But you got like Davina, it's like, you're kids, I'm just like you, ain't I? Yeah. And then she's like with the parents going, yes, it's really sad, isn't it? Oh yes, we must do this. and it's just like shit will get off
The
the
ever
pod, Davina.
What duplicitous?
Yeah, but it's like no, Davina, no.
Yeah.
Now you've got a load of stood right next to you. Move along.
Yeah.
The bus has left, Davina.
No, to be fair, she normally does. She does normally do stuff that's age appropriate for her age.
But she's trying too hard.
Yeah.
You know, like,
It's going back to her MTV days.
not that badly. But
Oh, right, okay. That's a relief.
there's nothing around her nose, allegedly. Or whatever. But yeah, it's... I don't know. Everyone seems to be watching that at school, and even some of the kids, more than the actual Love Island, though. So
I didn't hear much about Love. Was Love Island on this year?
Yeah, there's another one I think soon or whatever. But
yeah, but it wasn't. It didn't seem to be as big. Because
no one.
I obviously avoided like the plague.
I think one person on the tutor group watched it, and when it first started, a few people mentioned it, and then it just died out. But more people seem to be talking about this one. So I don't know if it's because the kids find it
kids
funny.
Are fickle, people they just move on. Seen that now.
Yeah, I think they find it funny because it's parents now.
Yeah.
And it's kids watching, and
in some cases their grandparents probably.
Yeah, probably. No, that was that other one that he's filming in the mornings. Jeremy, Kyle.
Cool. Yeah. Is that it then? Is that what we've watched?
I believe so.
Awesome.
Spotlight.
Directed by journeyman director George Armitage and written by first-time screenwriter Tom Jankiewitz. After receiving an invitation to his high school reunion, Grosse Point Blank has become an indelible Gen X classic. On one level, it's a slick action comedy. On another level, it's a classic redemption story. But overall, it's a I knew this was going to happen. It's a subversive romantic comedy, packed with an abundance of musical deep cuts created by Joe Strummer. Grosse Point Blank is a coming-of-age movie for people who really should have come of age 10 years prior, and serves to draw a line under the romantic comedies of the 80s by taking these archetypal characters from the likes of The Breakfast Club and Say Anything and placing them in 30-something-year-old bodies. They may have swelled, they may have succeeded in business, but deep down, high school dynamics will never leave them. That's Grosse Point Blank in a nutshell. Should we bother carrying on, or...?
I might as well. We're here now.
All right, fair enough.
I want to see what else the writer of Vigilante Force brought to the screen as a director.
It's weird, isn't it? Anyway, should we do the memories or should I do the cast first?
Up to you. You're the host.
I know, but it's
Do the cast.
dynamic. It's free flowing. We're all friends here. It's a safe space and all that.
Do the cast.
I'll do the cast then. Main cast: John Cusack, Minnie Driver, Alan Arkin, Dan Aykroyd, Joan Cusack, Jeremy Piven, Hank Azaria, K. Todd Freeman, and Benny Yerkadez.
No,
That's what I'm going with.
It's Yurik. I can't remember. It's Benny the Jet Yurik. Because as soon as he walked past him, I was like, aha. I know what's happening here. Because it's Yurik. I can't remember.
Yerkadez.
Yeah, Yerkadez or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Cool.
Benny. We'll call him Benny
But
from now on.
Benny the Jet.
Benny the Jet.
That's his kickboxing.
Right, yeah. Cool. Right, he's Benny the Jet. So then I'll go to Mr. Hawkins first. Recollections.
Can't remember the first time I watched it, but I've seen it loads of times over the years. Although I haven't watched it for at least 5 years. So that's why I was looking forward to watching this. But yeah.
Sweet. That was good.
All pleasant memories.
Mr. Summers.
I don't think I watched this back when it came out or just after it came out. I remember watching it on video or probably video.
Yeah, I had it on video, so it must be.
It's probably you, maybe watch it. And I don't think I've seen it since. I remember liking it at the time. I wasn't like blown away, it didn't change my life or leave any impending long-term damage, but it did, I enjoyed it from what I remembered, yes, and I was looking forward to seeing it again to see if it stood the test of time.
Fair enough. Well, without wanting to give anything away, this is in my top 10 all-time favourite films. I went to the cinema to see it for numerous reasons. One being John Cusack, huge fan. The other being I'd read somewhere that it had GNR in the soundtrack, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. How are they going to do that? So yeah, went to the cinema to
Because
see
they
it.
probably had every song from the 80s and 90s in the soundtrack.
Exactly. So yeah, and it's one of the few films alongside Back to the Future and the original Star Wars trilogy that I've owned on VHS, then DVD, then Blu-ray, and now have no hard copies of it whatsoever, but do have it on my hard drive. So, should we go through the plot?
Let's do this.
Let's do this. Let's get it done. Let's show how good this film really is.
Or not. No spoilers.
Okay, I'll try.
Credits appear on the screen to the soundtrack of Johnny Nash's I Can See Clearly Now. Professional assassin Martin Blank is preparing for a job while simultaneously on the phone to his assistant ordering some serious hardware. His assistant Marcella informs him that he has received an invitation to his 10-year high school reunion, and as she reads the invitation, Martin carries out the hit. It happens to be on a cyclist readying himself to carry out a hit of his own. The cyclist's intended target dropped to the floor, and as his bodyguards unload a barrage of bullets on him, Martin then begins to make his escape, telling Marcella to shred the invitation. Meanwhile, outside, a rival assassin appears and completes the job the cyclist was supposed to carry out. Action-packed opening, lots of twists and turns. I quite like
nice
the
juxtaposition between I Can See Clearly Now and impending doom.
Well, he could see clearly through the sight of his rifle.
Because he just cleaned his eye with some eye cleaning solution.
Yeah.
But instantly you see Martin's a cool guy.
Yeah.
He's unlike most men, he can multitask. He's on the phone whilst preparing to shoot dead a cyclist with one single bullet. And you're kind of thrown straight into the violence of the film with the closing bit where Dan Aykroyd comes out and literally unloads 2 hand cannons into...
Yeah. If you're going to
Could
kill
be a
someone,
bomb.
make sure they're dead.
Yeah, exactly.
He busts them.
Yeah. Certainly did.
And it's good. And just what I quite like is the everyday casual chaos of being a hitman.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like they almost make it a run. Oh, someone else has gate crashed my job. Oh.
Yeah.
You know, it's the casualness of it. It's the everydayness of it. I like how he sort of brings it across. But I do think, and this happens throughout the movie. His sister, is it Joan?
Joan.
It's just anytime she's on it, she's stealing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it was really cool. I like the opening. Because even if you have no clue who any of them are, or interested in the actors, there's enough going on that you're like, what the hell? Because that doesn't happen to James Bond or Chuck Norris or something like other hitmen.
It's
Charles Bronson.
setting up the pieces, and because it's Dan Aykroyd who's the other hitman, you're going to see him again anyway.
Yeah.
What I like as well is to make him that more hitman-y, they give him that bit more like fuzzier hair, or
Yeah,
I don't know what
he's
you
got a
call
sort
it.
of an outgrown buzz cut.
Yeah, like a military buzz cut kind of gone mad. Yeah. So, showing his range.
Definitely.
Cool, okay, so we cut to Martin again on his phone to his assistant. She informs him she's just had a conversation with a very dissatisfied customer. Martin doesn't seem to care and is more concerned to find out what the rival assassin was doing there. She just happens to have him on the other line, so she patches him through. We learn that the rival assassin is named Grosse, and the two have a history. When the two meet, they cautiously shake hands, keeping one hand poised on guns, and Grosse is trying to convince Martin to join his union of hitman. But Martin refuses and Grosse leaves. Martin calls back his assistant and she continues to read the invitation. Martin point blank refuses to discuss it.
See what I did there?
I do,
Yeah.
So Marcella faxes him his latest job offer. It's a Greenpeace boat hit. He doesn't want to take the job as he has scruples. Yeah, so I guess we find out that, and this carries on throughout the film, he only takes jobs if it's really to do, whack off bad guys.
If he wants, I don't think he whacks off any back.
Is that not the same?
No.
I don't think I was.
Just take the word off out of the.
Oh,
to whack. Not whack off.
That would be the gross in Grosse Point Blank, I guess.
Yeah, but it basically only kills bad guys.
Yeah, it kind of we're sort of getting the idea he has some sort of moral code.
Yeah.
Where, and I mean I definitely haven't put this in the synopsis, but he often says it throughout the film is if I come knock on your door, the chances are you've done something for me to put you there.
Yeah, he says it.
So you've done
He
something.
says it
to
a
put
few
me there.
times. Yeah.
Yeah.
And whether that's him trying to convince himself of that. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think that's what it is. I forgot what I was going to say about Dan Aykroyd now. But that, yeah. So I was going to say it about the previous bit as well. Having Dan Aykroyd cast in this role, like violently killing that guy, and then in this bit where he's bordering on psycho.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like all kind of friendly, but under the surface there's something bubbling there. It's quite a. You think
he's gone back to acting again rather than because as much as I love Dan Aykroyd, a lot of his 80s stuff he was playing Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah,
If you go back
exactly.
to like the Twilight Zone movie and that where he was like the hitchhikery guy and the guy, this is him actually.
Yeah, this is
Getting
the
to-
Liverpool
Yeah,
laugher.
yeah, the
wacky-
heart of the team.
Yeah, exactly. Which kind of is a juxtaposition, especially like if you think back to '97's, that Dan Aykroyd you hadn't seen for a long time.
Yeah, I mean he'd only just buried his son who got stung by bees, and he at this point.
My girl.
No, that was much earlier. That's what I mean. It was.
That's
that
what I
was
mean.
like,
So that would have been. That was probably his first foray back into mainstream outside of being Dan Aykroyd.
yeah,
And then he's shooting the shit out of everyone.
which was cool.
Yeah. He's cute.
But he's still got the jargon as well. So
Oh yeah.
well, when they meet up, there's lines in there where I wasn't sure whether it was scripted or whether he
No.
made it up.
A lot of the
I
film
thought
is
the same
is
thing.
unscripted.
Yeah, because
Hence the writing credits.
a lot of that almost harked back to his Ray Stantz days. Because even when they're meeting up, he was mentioning not supernatural, but weird occurrences.
Astro projection.
That's right. Yeah.
Telepathy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I mean. He's really kind of quite wired and
Yeah.
that there's a lot of you can tell just by the way the dialogue works, and it's quite a dialogue-driven film, which
Yeah,
is
I was
what
gonna
actually
say,
makes it quite hard to do the
it's-
synopsis, believe it or not.
Tarantino's out by now, isn't
Yeah,
he?
Pulp Fiction was
Yeah.
like Pulp Fiction.
The poster's actually in
Yeah.
the film.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction was '94, so this is a
Yeah,
good
it was, wasn't it? In
good
the
3
in the
years or
shop.
so later.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is
But that
kind
sort
of
of
carrying
thing,
on
yeah.
that kind of genre, if you like. It's not really a genre,
Because it
but
reminded me, it was almost a cross of sort of Kevin Smith and Tarantino.
Yeah.
Because you have that just talking about music and random
Exactly,
shit that if you haven't got a clue what they're talking about, you wouldn't know. And then obviously the violence and
and this is the thing. Like,
stuff.
throughout the whole plot synopsis, I was going to put the track listing alongside, but there's just too much.
Yeah.
But the tracks throughout the film kind of, in the most part anyway, kind of reflect what's happening on screen. If you know the songs, then you'll know. It may not necessarily be the title of the song, but in a particular part of whatever song is playing in the background, kind of reflects the either the mood or the what's actually happening on screen, which makes this a really cool film, but actually quite difficult to write a synopsis for because you end up going into too much detail. Anyway, shall I move on?
Cool.
Martin is in Miami carrying out a hit that is supposed to look like the target died in his sleep of a heart attack. Just as he is about to administer a lethal dose of something, I couldn't be bothered to find out what that was. The target moves and Martin is forced to shoot him. He returns back to his office the next day. Marcella informs him the client is very unhappy and demands he takes a job killing a federal witness in Detroit, Michigan, close to his hometown of Grosse Point, where the reunion is taking place. Before heading off to Grosse Point, Martin stops to see Dr. Oatman, his psychiatrist, to talk through some issues. We learn that Dr. Oatman is in fact afraid of Martin and no longer wants him as a patient, but Martin just keeps showing up at the same time every week. They talk and eventually Oatman advises him to go to the reunion and not kill anyone for a few days just to see how it feels. We then cut to Grosse receiving a communication that his Detroit contract has been terminated. Realising that it's gone to Martin, he calls a contact in the NSA to set Martin up. There's a lot of scenes rolled into one here because I had to go back and rewrite it because I'd realised I'd probably done 3 hours worth of us talking, and no one really wants that.
Yeah, so you kind of get the feeling that whatever happens, the assistant is going to make him go to his high school reunion.
This is what Joan Cusack really does. Still, every moment she's in this film, from just the way when he walks in, the weird face she's making, kind of almost portraying that she's scared of him, but is in fact she's owns the power dynamic in that whenever they're together. It's just very funny, and again you can see there's a lot of improvised kind of conversation in there. She goes on she's getting a weird Friday the 13th Black Cat vibe. I think he looks all right, Dr. Pepper, because of what she's wearing on the weird dress thing that she's wearing. And I think Alan Altman, what's his name?
Alan Arkin.
Alan Altman's MASH, isn't he?
Older,
yeah.
And Robert Altman.
Yeah. So again,
You're combining everyone.
my as Al would say, my mind is like Swiss cheese. But yeah, I think he does a great performance as portraying that like petrified doctor that he sat at one point fiddling with his rosary beads and
I know where you live.
Yeah,
see, it makes me uncomfortable when you say stuff like that.
There's just some really, really, really clever dialogue throughout this.
I love that bit because again, it was definitely before The Sopranos when they did the sort of shrinking. What about Analyze This or That or
around the same time? I think Analyze That was a 90s, or they did too, didn't they? There was a this and a that, whichever way round.
Yeah. But again, it's an interesting take of it, like the fact of no, I liked it, and Narkin can just act for days around anyone, so it's just like throw what you like at him. That was quite a nice challenge between the two, I think, because I think they were both trying to sort of outdo each other on
quite possibly, yeah.
So is it me, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay then, so Martin is driving to Grosse Point, followed behind are two NSA agents. Martin switches radio stations to WGFM, just as the DJ is talking through about the upcoming high school reunion. He heads straight to the radio station where he can see the DJ through the window. When she recognises him, he drives off and heads to his old high school where he bumps into an old teacher, and we learn that they all had high hopes for him going to Princeton or Harvard. After a brief, awkward conversation, Martin tells her he is heading home. The teacher seems shocked by this but says nothing. Martin arrives at his childhood home to find it has been torn down and replaced by a mini-mart. He has a confusing exchange with the cashier who's pulling a double shift and then he calls Marcella to locate where his mum is, because she ain't living in no shop.
No.
And again, a little bit of political commentary maybe there, of the small local town being taken over by the conglomerate type thing.
I've not thought of it, but if you want to go there, then
no, because then later on as well, when he meets Jeremy Piven with the house properties and all that, and you kind of see this that the town he left, which was the sort of has been portrayed as this sort of good old,
all American,
apple pie, whatever you call it, American town. Now, like, his house is gone. There's a supermarket there. The other bits are
nobody buys
sold
American anymore.
Nobody buys American. Yeah, the whole
BMW in Michigan. That's sacrilege.
The death of the American dream, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's also the fact that if you're doing well in those days, you could afford a European car.
Mm-hmm.
Hence why you're driving a Beamer.
Yeah, but he's from the Motor City. Yeah. It's supposed to be all American.
Yeah, but most of it had all closed down by then.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so, I mean, the end of the dream.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some social commentary throughout most of the film. Definitely, it's a sartorial. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Take on Generation
and
X.
it would,
but
and it would freak you out to go to your house and there's a big shop there.
Definitely.
Because he's like, is it like I can't remember. He said, "Am I still in my front room or I'm still in my bedroom?" And so he said,
when he phones Dr. Oatman from there, but I didn't bother putting that in.
You can't go home.
Yeah, I can't go home again.
But yeah, but again, a nice bit. You get a bit more insight into Martin. The cashier was. I don't know if he ever went on to anything bigger or better.
No, not that I know of. I haven't researched it.
But he does it well.
Yeah, it's a good exchange.
Yeah, he's very.
What's done is done. Why are you here? And it just keeps repeating.
He's very 90s.
Yeah. In every possible sense.
We need people like that.
100%. And there's also the scene that seems to be like everyone talks about, or not the scene, but the bit that everyone talks about, which is where when he pulls up in the car, it's Live and Let Die playing on the radio, and then when he walks into the mini mart, it's Live and Let Die as a Muzak version, and it's it picks up at exactly the same point. Kind of, for some reason, that's mind blowing for people, but.
I thought
and they did it long before Life on Mars did it.
I thought it was clever.
It's clever, but
I didn't think it was.
Like I was doing,
changing the face of modern
yeah,
cinema.
exactly. As we do for these shows, we do a little bit of internet research, see if we can find any nuggets of information or whatever, and that just seems to be the thing everyone talks about. And it's a relatively easy thing to do. It's not,
Man,
Anyway.
Just remember, if you ever make a film,
do that, and it will make
they didn't
millions.
have that much music in America, but we grew up with shops blasting that out anyway, so it was normal for us.
It was either that or pan pipes
Panpipe moods.
from Telstar.
Alright, so Martin arrives at a care home where his mother is a resident, and we soon learn that she has a form of dementia and she doesn't recognise him. He then visits the grave of his father and pours a bottle of whiskey on top of the grave and then leaves. The next day, Martin returns to the radio station, this time going into the studio to see the DJ, Debbie. They kiss, then they have an awkward exchange where we learn that it's been 10 years since he stood her up on prom night and disappeared altogether. Martin leaves as Debbie continues her show. He then returns and Debbie forces him to sit and be interviewed live on air, inviting listeners to call in. After a few calls, the interview is over and Martin leaves. As he's walking down the street, he spots another assassin and the two NSA agents. He bumps into another old school friend, Paul. The two go off in Paul's car to catch up. When Paul drops him back at the station, Martin calls his assistant to get info on the two NSA agents and the assassin he spotted earlier. Marcella is concerned that Martin hasn't carried out the hit yet.
So again, a lot of truncated bits here because too much dialogue to throw into one.
Yeah.
But we're clearly learning about his past. So obviously his mum's lost the plot.
Yeah.
And his dad presumably died of an alcohol-related illness.
And wasn't a nice guy.
Yeah, exactly. We learn that even though he's, for want of a better term, a cold-blooded killer, he's still been sending money back.
And we never know what happens to that money.
She's just like, I don't do money or something or another. But, I mean, the fact that she seems to be in quite a nice care home could indicate where that money's gone.
One of the carers has taken it, you mean?
Yeah. Who knows? Don't know how it works over there. I mean, I guess insurance pays for stuff, doesn't it? Whereas we've got to pay for our own care over here. It's not a bad thing. I'm not knocking the NHS.
I imagine it's probably worse over there.
I don't know. Well, yeah, if you haven't got insurance, you're screwed.
Yeah.
But, you don't get a choice over it. Anyway, that's all a bit of politics.
We love a bit of politics.
Yeah, so we get Debbie and him meeting up and having a conversation. We know that it was awkward. We now know that he's left her on prom night. We don't know why yet.
No.
But it's obvious that they still have a bit of a thing for each other.
Yeah. Definitely.
That kind of... I think it picked up too easily.
What picked up too easily?
He just sort of walked in and then it was like, hi, and they were pretty much... I know
that's the kind of
thing.
point, though. I think it's a... I forgot what I was going to say then. But I know what you mean. It's almost like that really wouldn't happen. But I think the point that he's trying to make...
Yeah.
But I think the point that this is trying to make... Because I think there's somewhere within the film that it's like they had such an intense relationship that they, everyone thought that they would just go through, you know what I mean? So,
and that was the thing. yes, they're looking at each other, then they kiss, but then she's like, hold on a moment.
Gets back and check, gets her emotions back in check. I think Minnie Driver does a really good job in this film as well, throughout, because she's like pretty much up until later in the film, she's almost playing a kind of giddy schoolgirl, sort of routine, and then she flicks out of that towards the end of the movie, and I think she does a really good job in this. Anyway, shall I go on?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Martin returns to the mini mart where the cashier is playing an arcade machine with his headphones on, listening to Motorhead. Sorry, Brad, I didn't put
Doom
that in.
2.
Yes, it is. I went to go back and see what it was, but I didn't. As Martin is stalking the aisles, the other assassin turns up and a shootout ensues. Eventually, the assassin flees, leaving a large amount of Semtex in the microwave. Martin runs out, then returns for the cashier just in time to escape the blast. Following the explosion, he calls Debbie and arranges to meet her in half an hour at the Hippo Club. The two meet up and have a conversation about Debbie's past, and Martin explains he left to join the army. He asks her to go to the reunion with him. She responds by saying she'll think about it. In the bathroom, he runs into the two NSA agents and tells them his plans for the evening. So yeah.
Yeah, that was a nice bit, especially with the other guy in the cubicle.
Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd, yeah.
You know, well,
Hiding.
I don't want to spoil it. But there is a spotlight, like those bits, and then when they're winding him up as well, so it's just sort of the...
Yeah, no one particularly cares for each other in this film.
And the other Cusack sister turns up as the mate from the high school.
Annie, or whatever his name down there.
I thought you two were going. That's right.
And then she calls him Marvin. Again, I think it feels like there's a fair bit of improv in there where they're, because sort of Debbie's talking back at Martin, and whilst the drunk one's talking, and it almost feels like she's just come up with that as they're talking. Yeah,
and again, we've just to continue, he's a nice guy because he runs back in to save the cashier from blowing up.
He's like,
I've lost my job.
Lost my job.
And Benny the Jet, who we see briefly, walks past him earlier, doesn't he, when he first arrives, and then we see him again. So there's that thing that like everyone out there might be an assassin. You kind of get that. They're putting that vibe across that everyone in the town might be out to get him.
I mean, I don't want to be a bit stereotypical, but if I looked at him, I'd think, ooh. I wouldn't want to run into you in a dark alley.
I'd be concerned.
Yeah.
It's more his shiny plastic forehead.
Well, you can tell him that.
Oh, yeah. No. Well, I'll tell him it nowadays because I don't think he can move his legs that much anymore. But
says you.
Mr. Nimble here. No, but this would have been. We talked about this on the Say Anything, I think. But I think he was the guy because Cusack's.
This is John Cusack.
He's a kickboxer on the down low, isn't it? Yeah. So
yeah.
I'd imagine he was the one training him. But he's always. I mean, you get a bit of it here, and that's kind of one of the things I like about Cusack. He was probably one of the legit martial artists in film, but always keeps it sort of on the down low. You know, it's not his. You know, he's not Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point in his career, that's all his films are going to be.
Johnny Depp getting on stage as the Hollywood vampire.
Right, yeah. Or whatever. You know, he's not going around kicking the shit out of people. He just still plays the roles and probably could kick the shit out of a lot of people in real life.
I'd say
especially
so.
if he trained with Benny the Jet.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's you.
I didn't think it. Oh yeah. So back in his hotel, Martin is getting the lowdown on the NSA agents and the other assassin from Marcella. She explains that Grosse has given them.
She explains
that Grosse has given him as a patsy to take the fall for the killing of the federal witness, and that the other assassin, Felix Le Poubelle, is in town to hit Martin in retaliation for Martin accidentally killing a dog in a previous hit. Martin is procrastinating about killing the federal witness and still hasn't even opened the dossier, and instead of doing so, now heads over to Debbie's house. She lets him in and he convinces her to go to the prom with him. And then the next day, Martin and Grosse meet at a coffee shop. Again, another nice sort of standoff bit. And Grosse again tries to convince him to join his new sort of assassins union. Martin still isn't interested, and the two argue. Despite Martin stating that this is possibly his last job, Grosse threatens to do the job for him and then kill Martin. So again, him and Aykroyd are gold. Just the whole where he's got the bag and he's got the thing and
love
all
that.
You know,
Like,
there's
it's
all the different little.
Yeah.
And it was
What
almost.
is it? He's brown bagging it today.
Yeah.
He's got his gun in a brown bag. Martin's got it hidden under the table under a
And Martin was
napkin.
almost Han Solo and Greedo. Before it all got when Han shot first.
Yeah.
Back in those days, you know, it was very sort of. It reminded me a lot of that scene, to be honest, but even some of the conversation. But yeah,
and we're getting more of what you said about Debbie being back in the same mentality as she was in high school, because she's back in her old room. Yeah, nothing's changed.
You can't come in. I'm sorry about the accent, but that's what she does.
Yeah.
She does it a lot better than I do, which is obviously special, isn't it? It's the what you hear in the background.
No, when he goes to a room, it's a Death and Paradise theme.
Yeah, but no. So that you can't come in is on the specials.
Oh,
I couldn't tell you which album it is. I've only got one or two of their albums, but I know it's on one of them.
I think they did one or two really. Then it was just all sorts of greatest hits.
Oh, that's probably why I've only got one or two. Yeah. I do like them, but I'm not.
Yeah, it was Fun by Three by about 1982.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of before our time.
The colour field in between that, I think.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff like that in there, but I did like the fact that the Death and Paradise thing got a little cameo.
Before it was a Death and Paradise. Yeah.
Obviously, You're Wondering Now was a hit for many years before. But yeah, you get all their thing, you get the background, so we know why Felix is after him now, or Benny, played by Benny the Jet. We get the background of the NSA agents, and it kind of builds them up a bit, which is good because they've just been peripheral, and very much Beverly Hills Cop vibe.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, the two guys just following him around.
Yeah. Even to the point where they meet and he tells them where he's going, because that happens in Beverly Hills, doesn't it? Before he puts the banana in the exhaust.
Yeah, and then one who bangs it and gives him coffee or something, does he?
Yeah, something like that. Cool. Okay. Oh, no, it's not me.
It's the day of the reunion. Martin has a brief conversation with Dr. Oatman and heads over to Debbie's house. At the reunion, the pair run into a number of old friends, and soon the dynamic of high school politics returns. After Martin holds a baby, bumps into the high school bully, the prom queen, and the computer nerd, Debbie and Martin dance and then head off to wander the corridors, eventually ending up in the nurse's office to get jiggy. Meanwhile, Felix arrives at the school. Debbie and Martin decide they're going to leave. Debbie heads off to say goodbye to a few people while Martin wants to cruise by his old locker. At his old locker, Martin runs into Felix and the two fight. Martin eventually wins by stabbing Felix in the neck with a penny acquired earlier from one of the reunion guests. Debbie rounds the corner and is shocked to see Martin leaning over the body and runs off. Paul arrives on the scene and, although having no idea what's going on, helps Martin dispose of the body, just as old friends would.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
We did that once.
We know where the bodies are buried. So this is the only part of the film. Well, this is not the only part of the film that lets it down. It doesn't let it down. But I think this would have been better if they'd had a montage in it to really give you that nostalgia 80s feel. Do you know what I mean? Just like some of the meeting, just some music playing over and a brief conversation, and then it montages to the fate. Mixes to the next person they meet.
Yeah, and maybe some glitter falling as Kevin Bacon turns up and they will start dancing. Although, to be fair, there is quite a lot of dancing in this, and you can see that they're actually having a bit of a laugh.
Yeah.
And you can see
especially
they're
Jeremy
not,
Piven.
Yeah.
They're not dancing to what we're hearing.
No, absolutely. Well, they don't, and in most films they don't play any music,
no.
do they, at all?
And what I did like as well, it was nice to see Michael Cudlitz before he found a gym.
No, you have to...
The bully.
All right.
Because then he ended up as Abraham in The Walking Dead.
Oh, it was him. I meant to look that up, but I didn't in the end.
You know, because now he walks around like a brick shithouse.
Yeah.
Back then he's still big, but he's not. The shoulders haven't come in yet.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I was like, shit, he's in this. I didn't even think he was acting at that point. And I just like in the background of watching Jeremy Piven's character trying to hit on the girl that didn't remember him.
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, he's dancing with her. And
Yeah.
He got some, hopefully.
Well, and then he has to clean
He
up.
may have got
Yeah.
cock blocked by helping
Yeah.
kill a killer.
Yeah.
But there were some nice little bits there, and the kind of the characters that we've met scattered around the town are all the security guard guy and all that sort of
And we're getting we definitely get an idea of who Martin was at high school, and without wanting to labour the point that I've made in a Cult Faction article, he's pretty much Lloyd Dobler in high school. He's not doesn't seem to be in any of the
Who's
cliques.
Lloyd Dobler?
Let me get there.
Okay.
He's not in any of the sort of high school cliques. He's the guy that just is friends with everyone.
Does his own thing.
So you throw my way of getting around to it. But what I was going to say is Lloyd Dobler is who John Cusack plays in Say Anything. So he, at the very least in my mind, that's the sort of character we're getting from the people that he meets in high school, because you've got, like you said, the guy that's a security guard, he thanks him for helping him in, I think it's in archery class. You've got that he bumps into the computer nerd, and the computer nerds, they have a conversation as if they were friends. He's obviously friends with Jeremy Piven's character.
Yep.
Mate, he gives him a pen.
Yeah, the guy gives him a pen. What I'm assuming is like the prom queen character, the one in the blue dress. She remembers him, but doesn't remember the guy who she had 11 classes with and did a couple of papers for her. Doesn't remembers him eventually, and then it's like, oh, it's you. So yeah, he's
the only difference
drifted around all of them.
Is that he could have gone to MIT or anything, where in Say Anything, he didn't want to do any of that.
No, he didn't. He was
quite
supposed
happy
to
just
join
being
the army, but didn't go.
Yeah.
Anyway. And then we get the end of this particular scene is Paul arriving, and without question, pretty much, yep, I'm going to help you dispose of the body.
To be fair, he has saying all along, I joined the army,
Yeah.
went off and did my own
And
contract.
everyone laughed.
Yeah.
And bizarrely, and it's only just dawned on me now, but a lot of the motor cities and all that, where it all shut down, it went to shit, ended up becoming high recruitment areas for the army because they were so poor or they didn't have jobs. And Michael Moore, whatever you think of him, touches on that in Fahrenheit 9/11 as well. So that would have been something in the area that would have been an option for them, because, well, there's still empty towns there now where people, it's all got, and that was one of the, join the army, you can be rich and travel the world and kill people you never met. And obviously Martin has gone along with that for a little while, but then hit a certain, hit a certain personality trait.
Yeah.
Also,
Okay. So Martin is back. Martin is back in his hotel room. He calls Dr. Oatman to fire him, and then Debbie turns up. She confronts him. Martin confesses that he really is a contract killer and tries to explain. He reveals that when he joined the army, his psychological profile indicated a certain flexible moral flexibility that prompted the Central Intelligence Agency to recruit him as an assassin, after which he decided to freelance. Martin assures Debbie that he accepts only contracts on corrupt individuals. His efforts to rationalise his work anger her more, and she rejects his attempts at reconciliation. Martin calls Marcella, who is already dismantling the office and preparing to burn the building down. He tells her to look under the desk where he has left a parting profit share gift. Resigned to the fact that he isn't going to get Debbie, he finally decides to open the dossier and discovers that the mark is in fact her father.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay. So this is the last scene we see of Marcella, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So there's a bit. She's trashing the office, and when he phones up, says, "Look under the desk," and even then, she's like, "What?"
Yeah, because go somewhere and I'll find you. She's like, why?
Yeah.
Oh no, not like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I left something for you under the desk.
It's a vast sum of money.
Profit share.
Yeah, it's got its benefits. And it was a nice scene, and obviously he finally opens the envelope. I thought it was going to be Jeremy Piven.
Did you?
I couldn't remember who it was.
Oh, right, yeah, that would be interesting, I guess, but then it wouldn't.
So I thought, well, he's just helped him, and now he's got to go and kill it, sort of thing. But they didn't. They went for the say anything ending.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
So then we cut to what I thought was probably, and I know it was on purpose, but the sort of silliest bit where you've got Debbie's father out on a morning run and Grocer is parked in a van further up the road preparing to shoot him. You would have seen that.
Oh,
It's
him,
like-
yeah.
It's a massive van.
Yeah, with a whacking
the door
great
open. He's got a gun and he's just running towards.
He's in the zone.
Yeah.
Mm.
He's an old man running.
And they're like, this is one of the world's greatest hitmen.
I tell you what, when on the odd time that I have gone for a jog, I ain't concentrating up there. I'm just trying to keep
Looking at your
breathing.
feet to make sure you
Yeah.
don't fall over.
No, that bit just. I could have even had him at the side of the road, grassy knoll style, whatever. So it was still a clear. He could still do what he did, but he basically just parked at a T junction that he was running towards with the cars.
And also, even when Gross is lining up for the shot, he sees the car coming, and instead of taking the shot, he waits.
And he's like,
Well, you don't know the range of the gun that he's got.
It would look like a
Well, I would
It
imagine,
still might hit, but you just because it would hit wouldn't necessarily make it with a kill shot.
I'd
So,
imagine
you know.
as he was an assassin, it would be a very good gun.
Yeah, but it still may not have that range. Just
Anyway,
saying.
But anyway, yeah, Martin races to flag him down, and Spot and Grocer stops in front of him and tells him to get in. The pair head back to Debbie's house, pursued by Grocer and his goons. Once inside the house, Martin starts giving the pair a potted history of his past 10 years, telling Debbie that he left her on prom night to protect her from his homicidal urges, all the while shooting Grocer's goons. Eventually, it is only Grocer left, and the two have a shootout. The NSA agents also turn up, and both Martin and Grocer shoot them. Martin eventually kills Grocer by smashing a TV over his head. Once all the shooting is over, Martin proposes to Debbie, who, shell-shocked from the day's events, does not respond. But her dad does and says it will be alright. In the end, Debbie and Martin leave Grosse Point together. Yeah, I like the... I was slightly annoyed, but slightly did get the joke that the NSA guys just got blasted away and they were pointless the whole time.
Yep.
But I almost then made me want to see a bit more of them to make them more pointless.
How's that, Doug? Surely the less you see of them, the less.
No, but like the whole death, like these guys are following him all the time. Maybe just see a bit more of them. So when they do die, like, oh shit, oh okay.
Oh, right, okay.
But the thing is about it, they do have some conversations. So if we kill him, we're the bad guy. But if we wait for him to kill him, he's the bad guy, and then we kill him.
They were all nice conversations.
But that's what I mean. They do have conversations.
Yeah,
they
and it's
have,
also
like-
showing the kind of lack of moral compass that those guys have, because
I
all
agree
they
with
want,
that.
and throughout all the conversations that they're having, it's like, you know, one of them says, "I can't wait to kill this guy."
Yeah.
You know, then they're arguing about who's going to get to do it at some point.
I could have just done even a couple more of those sort of conversations, or little demonstrations of their moral compasses through it, or even like a stakeout. You know, like he's in bed, they're outside. Just a couple of quick little bit of witty banter back to him again. You know, like over the night, because it's just sort of like
I kind of know what you're saying. If this was done, if this was a different film, similar to one of the guys you mentioned earlier, the directors, we'd have had some wittier conversations. Actually, one of the things that I found, even though it was Hank Azaria, a lot of their conversations weren't that funny.
No, it's not really a comedic
but
role. It's
but
just,
where nowadays everyone knows who Hank Azaria is, and you kind of expect him to be witty and funny, and even in Pulp Fiction they used to have funny conversations. But with these two,
I think maybe part of it is that they didn't want too much of them in it because you don't want the audience to bond with them.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, at the end of the day, Martin shoots them two in cold blood. So if there's two characters that you're warming to,
then he's the bad guy,
and then he shoots them, you're
Yeah,
that
you
takes
could
you
have
away from.
easily just had Grosse shoot both of them.
Yeah.
But then they're not working together, and that kills that dynamic because they don't. You know,
Yeah, but he
immediately
shoots them anyway.
but immediately after he says that, immediately after they've shot the two NSA agents, Gross is like, "See, that's us two working together. That's what I'm talking about."
Yeah.
So you kill that gag.
Yeah, true. But I just thought for the whole point, you know, the whole gimmick being that they were just pointless anyway.
Yeah,
I think
they're pointless so that they can be shot. That is
I
their
agree
point.
with that, but I needed a bit more to then. I just needed a bit more of them. So when you realise they were just pointless anyway, and like a red herring or whatever you want to call it, or a MacGuffin type thing, I needed a bit more in it to then go, oh yeah, that was stupid. I just killed him anyway.
I must admit, the one thing I struggled with in this scene was almost the too over the top slapstick shooting. I just was a bit disappointed throughout the film. You know, he's an assassin, he's killing people, and then we've got Dan Aykroyd and him on either side of the kitchen wall, just go, and then he gets a telly.
Yeah, it went a bit Frank Drebin, didn't it?
Yeah, and then
I get what you mean. Yeah.
Then he gets a telly and just whacks it over his head and he dies. Even though we think he's being electrocuted because there's some.
You get like a
noises.
murmur for.
But he's still touching his body. I don't know. I just kind of felt that death scene could have been a bit better.
Is it a
fair
reference?
enough.
Do we know if it's a reference to anything? Because I know little things and nods and winks, aren't they, as it goes along? Is it a? Do we know? Anything I could think of was Elm Street 4. No, Elm Street 3 even. When Arquette gets banged into the telly, but
I don't know. It's just everything else really likes, and then you have this kind of, and then gets a TV and whacks him. I'd have liked to have seen him going out in a bit more of a,
especially that how graphic the one with Benny the Jet was.
Yeah,
a real proper thumb in the eye fight, and then
and even if there'd have been a line, it's like. About the union, so okay, you don't have to join the union or whatever. How about we just? I just think it could have been done where Dan Aykroyd was dying, and he gives out a really nice one-liner, and then dies.
Dan Aykroyd gives off a really one.
Yeah,
that's a bit difficult to do when your head's buried in.
No, but that's what I mean. I'd have done it slightly differently, and he'd be shot in the chest, and I don't know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and. Just maybe the writer thought shot too many people. You know, because by the end of the film, he's got quite a high kill count from someone who was planning not to kill anyone for the weekend.
Yeah. And I just like the dad throughout this as well.
Yeah, he's the best thing in that scene.
Even when he turns up after dumping his girlfriend on prom night. He starts, John Cusack goes on about what he's done with his life, and he's like, "Oh well, it's a
growth industry.
It's like let's forget about the past and have a whiskey,
Yeah.
And then it's like he just saved my life. He's all right with me now.
Yeah. I think that's one of the letdowns of this film is that his role is not padded out a bit more.
Yeah.
Out of all the characters in this film, we could have seen some more of the dad, and at the very least, actually trying to working out what he's actually a federal witness for, because we don't really get that. He says something in the background about a leaky sunroof or something, which makes no sense.
But I wasn't sure, because he's the baddie in Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure if it was
in the same universe.
No, I just wondered. No, I'm not the same cat. But I wondered if it was like I was trying to work out like if it was like a reference or something like that. And he also ends up in bloody Dharma and Grey as well. But
I don't think so. I think that's just casting, because
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Jankiewicz wrote this back in 1991 or something. So
yeah, it's just one of those. I was just trying to sort of think what might be. Because a lot of them try and do different things, don't they? And like make it that because he had a leaky roof. He had a leaky roof in his car when he got shot in Lethal Weapon or something like that. You know, like because
Okay, yeah, maybe you can go down that rabbit hole if you like. Anyway, so that was or is Grosse Point Blank. As Mr. Summers was the one less keen, I'll go to you first for your thoughts.
No, I enjoyed it again, but it was just, I don't know, there was something missing that pushed it over the top for me. But I did enjoy it. It was fun to watch. Someone else I was watching it with thought it was boring. I did laugh at some of the jokes and the one-liners, but no, I got it for what it was. I mean, it was just that piece of the puzzle missing that made it like one of those all-time top 10 super films. You go, oh man, you got to have that.
Not enough space in it for you.
I like murder and killing as well on film. But yeah, no, but I still enjoyed it. It was a good watch, and you know, the soundtrack's very good, and it'd be nice if some of them actually did listen to that stuff. But there's a few little tunes that popped up here and there I hadn't heard for a long time. But yeah, no, good, enjoyable film. But I think it just missed something that took it to that next level of iconic film, I guess. Yeah.
Fair dues. Okay, Mr. Hawkins.
It's like putting on a really nice T-shirt, that your favourite T-shirt from the 90s. You like it. You're going to put it on again later on next month or next year. Put it back in the cupboard. It's just a safe pair of hands. It's, yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it again. Didn't think I wouldn't. I think the only thing, because I was watching it for Cult Faction, I was trying to be looking for stuff that I probably wouldn't have even thought about, you know. I think there was some of the dialogue every now and again, or some of the scenes with Minnie Driver and actually John Cusack didn't feel as if they flowed as well as potentially could have, and a lot of the times that could be because they're going off script. But yeah, and just that scene with Dan Aykroyd, and that was me trying to be there, going, "Oh, you've got to
find something wrong with this."
Yeah, but it's really hard to do. It is, you know, it's a fun film, really clever. You know, it's a good old different take on different genres that we've all seen before in one guise or another, all put together in one. I think the difficult thing, maybe at the time, I don't know, and it did well at the box office anyway. It doubled its money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But maybe because it came out after Pulp Fiction and there was already one assassin, you know, thing there, that if it hadn't been for Pulp Fiction, I think this could have done even better.
Yeah, but funny enough, I did this, just remembered actually in film studies. I, in one of my theses or whatever, but without Pulp Fiction, you probably wouldn't have had this film. Maybe, you know, because
but it's still
up, even though he'd written it way before Pulp Fiction. You know, it may not have been green lit.
It became the cool thing, didn't it?
Yeah, but it's still, for a while, that, you know, with all the John Woo stuff and whatnot. Anyway,
it's still on a different part. Don't get me wrong. They're two different humours. There's two different, you know, traits to them. It's just thoroughly enjoyable. Yeah, as I said, I just being picky. I think some of the dialogue was a bit meh, but who wouldn't want to be in one of those films? Because I think they must have had a really good time. And you know, like a lot of the films we see, it's like, I bet they had a real good time making that. Not in this one, but they could have been completely off their face, and most of the ones we've seen, particularly some of the low budget ones. But it's almost got that camaraderie. You can tell that they had a good time on set. Yeah, would love to have been a part of it.
What about yourself, going back to it?
Hated it.
I hate this film with a passion. No, complete opposite. I don't think there's not a single person that's listened to this podcast, to this recording, that could probably get any idea that I didn't like this film. It's up there as one of my all-time favourites. There's a lot of things wrong with it, really. You could go on about, as I said, Debbie's dad Bart should have a bigger role in it. There's there's some of the dialogue doesn't really track when they're talking to each other, but then the improv stuff shines through, which you can forgive it for.
I think that's the biggest thing, because when it's good, it's really good.
Yeah.
So when it's a bit, which probably could be good in something else, because the other stuff's good, it makes it stand out more when it, like you say, when it doesn't quite gel.
Exactly. The MacGuffin, the dossier, it's always going to be someone that Martin's close to in one way or another. Otherwise, he wouldn't be there. That was always going to happen. It's a good shout saying it could have been Jeremy Piven.
Because I didn't remember who it was. I was guessing it was going to be someone. It won't be Minnie Driver, but it'll probably be like.
Yeah, so that's a good shout. That would have been interesting.
He's the real estate guy.
Yeah.
Maybe he's made a bad deal or something.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But on the flip side, like you said, when it's good, it's good. The dialogue, most of the dialogue is really good. It flows in the most part and feels natural. It doesn't shy away, for a comedy, for an action romantic comedy, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't shy away from the violence. From the outset, Dan Aykroyd's character is literally like a cold cup of coffee slap in the face. Within 3 minutes, a cyclist has been shot, and Dan Aykroyd's emptied 2 hand cannons into a bloke lying on the floor. So for a comedy of this kind of ilk, which is, it has that thread of the John Hughes stuff running through it. So to not shy away from the violence, the violence, even though there's the shootout scene at the end of the film, the violence really culminates in the fight between Benny and Cusack. I mean, for a start, I have no doubt they are kicking each other for real, because they do that offset anyway. So whether how obviously it had to be choreographed to some extent, but then you get the scene where he pulls the pen out and he stabs him. Cusack is dripping sweat. There's blood all over him, and then you see the regret on his face, and it's that really does pull you out of the comedy and bring you into the violence. But so it don't, like I say, it doesn't shy away from any of that. And it's a cool 90s movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the soundtrack's amazing.
Yeah. Well, if you get Joe Strummer to do your soundtrack, I think you're gonna come up trumps there, aren't you, really?
Mm-hmm.
So unless anyone has any other little nuggets of information...
Oh, the other bit that made me laugh as well, when we talked about the ending with Marcella, she's torching the place and she's got a fag in her mouth as well.
Yeah. That
did make me laugh as well. Just, no care, no worries about it all. And I'm pretty sure as well, we had a few other Cusacks and cameos and stuff as well. I think I did read something that that's the most Cusacks in one film or something.
Yeah, there's another male member of the Cusack family in there, but
it's the baby.
I think there's about
the baby's actually a girl, even though they've
there's about 6
or
7 in there. I think different.
I don't know about that.
I think there's like Grandma Cusack sat over there. No, they're not necessarily speaking, but they're. I think his dad was a waiter or something.
Yeah.
That's
the one that's there. There is one that's
great Auntie Mabel Cusack is on the counter in that bit, and they're all there somewhere sort of thing.
Fair enough. Right, should we go to ratings?
Ooh, okay.
As I'll do it in the order that I have on the screen, so we'll go to Mr. Summers first for your scores on the board, so you can't copy anyone else.
Never copied. I'm gonna go.
But always bettered. No.
A reliable 7.
A reliable 7. Okay.
Well, I think it is good. I mean, there's a couple of bits missing, but there's enough in there to keep you entertained. It's a fun film. It's just that I think, as I said before, it's just missing that that special secret ingredient that would have just pushed it up to the upper echelons.
Fair dues. Mr. Hawkins?
I've watched this loads of times, and God willing, I will watch it loads more times. I just love it. It's just, as I said, it's a safe pair of trousers, comfy pair of trousers that you can put on.
You can put on after a Sunday roast.
Yeah. It's got a few faults, but nothing that's going to take off more than a mark, so I'm giving it a 9.
Fair dues.
I think it's brilliant.
Okay.
Oh, fair play.
I too am going for a 9, because like you, I have watched it countless times. I watched it 3 times in the last couple of days to do this podcast, and normally it's just 2. But
Yeah, I was going to say.
and even that, that's pushing it. But yeah, normally when I do the synopsis, I'll have the laptop in front of me and I'll sort of press the skip button to just get some key points down. But I actually watched it religiously for the 3rd time in a row. Yeah, I love it. It does have its faults, stuff I've already mentioned. So the reason I'm going, and that's the reason I'm going for 9. It's not a perfect film. Probably we will never have a perfect film. I don't think we'll ever get 3 10s across the board. But for me, this is as close as you can get.
I tell you what I would like. I don't know, they probably couldn't do it now because they're all too old. But I'd like to see like the prequel, of like him maybe leaving the army, getting lured into the assassin, maybe a Dan Aykroyd taking him under his wing.
There is like an internet rumor type, informal acknowledgement, if you like, that a film called War Inc. is a sequel to this because it has John Cusack and Dan Aykroyd playing similar roles. I've never seen it, or if I have, I don't remember.
It's an arms dealer.
That's something similar thing, but yeah, there's like this informal kind of acknowledgement, if you like, that it's a sequel. It's not.
Yeah.
But I think it's just like a bit like what I've done on. I'll try not to mention it again, but a bit like what I've done with Sure Thing, Say Anything, and then this. They're a trilogy of films. I think probably War Inc. probably fits closer than what I've done. But
and of course, Joan Cusack's also in War Inc.
Yeah, there you go.
She's in everything.
She's in everything he does. To be fair,
she's like his John Ratzenberger.
Yeah. I think this is probably one of her best roles.
Yeah.
That I've seen her do. I mean, we haven't mentioned it, but there's that bit where she's on the phone to, I guess, an arms dealer. And she's like, it's on the list. I gave you it's on the fucking list, and she flicks to the her sister or something.
Whatever. How to make.
Whoever it is, it's like she's giving her a. It's like no, it's just celery and onion. That's the base of the soup. It's like that brilliant flicking of a switch. She goes from psycho to nurturing mother. Yeah, it could be. Anyway, so that gives Grosse Point Blank a total of 25. So let me hit a button and see where that puts it. Yeah, we should have a little music for this, shouldn't we? That puts it in. Do you want to have a guess?
3rd.
I imagine it's got to be top.
You were right. 3rd.
Okay, what beat it?
Well, 2nd technically, I guess, because we got 2 joint leaders at the moment. Invaders from Mars and House are both on 25.5. And then we have Grosse Point Blank and Office Space on 25.
Oh, cool.
So it's joined good company.
Yep.
Very good company.
Yeah, definitely.
So there we have it. So I keep saying so.
That's
what do you
fashion.
got? So, before we start our shutdown procedures, our spotlight will
Return.
No, you
Turn
it
you're
like
turning
Pivot.
turn the spotlight. Pivot. So we're going to pivot the spotlight onto, I believe it's your choice this week, for the next spotlight episode.
Yeah, so obviously a tough one because I knew I was following that. I had a couple of choices. Some new, but I thought, no, I'm only picking those because I know you haven't seen them. And one of which I watched recently. So I'm going to go back in time. It's 1985.
Oh, I'm excited.
And because we did this one, I thought, no, let's go back to more sci-fi. Sorry, Damien. But you know how
My excitement level is just.
But you know how science fiction films now, they're either vampires or aliens or zombies. Not this one. In 1985, they had vampire, aliens, and zombies all in one film. I am nominating the film Life Force. One of the critics said they threw everything except the kitchen sink into this. Actually, no, the kitchen sink was there too.
Okay.
Mixed reviews. Some love it, some hate it. I think it's Marmot. I think it's so ridiculous.
Oh, it's been a while since I've seen it.
It might be either really good or we're going to hate it.
Okay. I do not recognise the title. Maybe if I was to research,
You'd recognise the video.
yeah, so maybe I would do that, but I'm not going to do that now because then that might be forced to use my veto. So I'm not going to. I'm going to accept Life Force into the canon of Cult Faction podcast.
I think
at least from my point of view, I'm assuming Brett, you're like from the look on your face and the sound of your voice, you're already up for
one of the
watching
reasons
it,
I chose it is because we were doing a review on something else and it says you might like Life Force and it's just on Amazon Prime now and I think it's free.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
on Prime, yeah.
So it's accessible for
I was
all
just
the
checking
listeners
for
and all the watchers of the Cult Faction podcast that have Amazon Prime for free.
Awesome. Okay, so that will be obviously in 2 weeks' time. Our next week's episode will be one of our freeform discussion,
Meanders.
whatever
down life.
happens type episodes. So yeah, it's time for the shutdown procedure. Put your seatbelts on and the trays in the upright position. Do they shut the windows during the flight, or do you open them?
No,
You
no.
have them open on an airplane.
No, you know, not the
blinds.
shutter things.
You close them on landing and takeoff.
You close them, do you?
Yeah.
So, do you? I'm sure I've been looking out the window when we've landed.
So have I, but they tell you to close them.
Oh, right.
I don't know why.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Probably the speed or whatever, and like might make people feel sick.
Yeah, anyway.
if they're looking at it.
So do whatever they do tell you to do on an airplane.
Don't smoke.
So YouTube, you're watching us on YouTube if you are in fact watching us on YouTube. So hit the subscribe button wherever it is on the screen. I don't watch YouTube
Down
that
there.
much, so I don't know where it is. Wherever it is, hit it. Put some comments in. That would be fun for us to read through.
Share us.
Failing that, if you're listening on a podcast stream and app thing, rate and review us. That goes a long way, especially if you're on Apple. That might help push us up the charts. Maybe even enter the charts.
I was going to say, yeah.
to
We've been hanging around number 10 for too
Yeah.
long.
Page 10.
Okay. If you liked what you've seen or stroke heard, then you can visit our mothership, which is
cultfaction.com.
if you don't want to like, comment, or whatever, you can send us an email at
cultfactionpodcast@mail.com.
and plus we're on Twitter and
TikTok,
that's the fella.
X.
YouTube.
Yeah, I think I mentioned
X,
YouTube enough.
Facebook.
Instagram.
Instagram. That's your main player, isn't it? Summers. That's the one where we've gone past the 3,000 mark. Is it?
Yeah, and well, Facebook we've got a load on, but Facebook seems to be, unless you actually
I can't be clear with
Marcus,
Facebook.
so
It's just adverts. All the time.
unless you actually tick us that you want to see us in your feed, you might not, because they just muck about with the
Yeah.
algorithms. But Instagram seems to be the most accessible when we post something at the moment. Most people seem to get it.
That's the way to find us.
We're liking Instagram more on social media at the moment, or just on cultfaction.com.
Sweet. So I think that's it, isn't it?
I think so.
Only thing the only thing left to say. You have been listening to the Cult Faction Podcast, episode 114, the spotlight on Grosse Point Blank. I have been Damien Hicks,
I've been Paul Hawkins.
I've been Brett Summers,
and we all like to say goodbye.
and
Bye.
the future is unwritten.
Superman.
Mr. Summers, over to you. Why did you try it? You were perfectly capable of using your phone for the last half an hour. Now...
So you cut that bit in.
When he says, everyone ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm
it
ready.
clearly wasn't.
No.